Hey everybody, this is Let Us Interrupt You here on Wednesday, December 7th, 2022. I am Joe Savalvo. As you just saw me walking in here with my nice brand new webcam. Once again, of course, I got my own webcam. Unfortunately, I apologize for those who were looking forward to watching me yesterday on Tuesday. I did promise everybody to be here on every Tuesday, but there was a Wi-Fi issue with my laptop, so I could not get the Wi-Fi to work. Today we're going to talk some NFL stuff, NFL news, NFL injury news, NFL Week 13 review. I'm not going to review. I already reviewed the Thursday night Bills Patriots game when I did my podcast on Saturday. So I was going to do this Tuesday, but I got all messed up. We're going to talk some NBA news. Talk about Ime Udoka and Nia Long officially getting a split in their relationship. They are officially done after 13 years. It's kind of hard to believe that they were not really married after all this time. And I mean, unless they were married, I don't know what the story was, if they were married or they weren't married, but their relationship after 13 years is officially over. The Bruins finally lose a home game. That was on Monday against the Vegas Golden Knights, against their old coach, Bruce Cassidy, with Riley Smith, the former Boston Bruin, getting the game-winning goal for the Golden Knights. We'll get into a little bit of that. They had a 13-game home winning streak, which hasn't been done in a long time. That finally came to an end, unfortunately. Lamar Jackson, injured for the Ravens, injured his PCL in his knee. He's expected to miss at least 3 weeks of football. I can't imagine this guy being back after 1 week of missing a game. He's going to miss at least 2 or 3 weeks. They did sign Brett Hundley, though, after the injury, which I don't see the point of that because Tyler Huntley is way better than Brett Hundley is. And Brett Hundley is not ready to start in the NFL. He's a good backup, but he's not a starter in the NFL. He's just not. Von Miller tore his ACL. He is done for the year. So that was announced as of today. That was the breaking news that was popping on my phone today, which I'm kind of glad that I was able to bring this up, because this leads right into my the Jimmy Garappolo story, which Garappolo injured his knee, or actually, no, he injured his foot, excuse me, not his knee. He avoided Liz Frank's injury, which would have caused him to miss the rest of the season. But he will be back in time for the playoffs. And this brings up my next point here, which is this. With Von Miller being gone, missing the rest of the season, and I think I'm going to stick with the Bills 49ers Super Bowl matchup. I think that will eventually be your Super Bowl matchup. Look, Philadelphia is good enough, but I think when it comes straight down to it, I think San Francisco's defense is still one of the better defenses out there. I think they're much better than Philadelphia is. Secondary-wise, I think it's just as equal to San Fran's. So I think that'll probably be your NFC title game. I think San Francisco will win it. I still think they come up short, though, in the Super Bowl. I think Buffalo without Von Miller isn't going to really make things worse. I think the defense will be just fine without Von Miller. I mean, Von Miller makes the team feel good about themselves, whether he's playing or not. As long as he's on the sidelines watching this stuff play out, I think it's fine. It sucks he's going to miss the rest of the year with a torn ACL. But it is what it is. It's unfortunate. It sucks. But him being out for the rest of the year with a torn ACL is going to motivate Buffalo to play better for Von. It really is. I think they can overcome it. I mean, they still got one of the best offenses in the league. I think you can argue with Josh Allen at quarterback, Stephon Diggs, Gabriel Davis, Isaiah McKenzie, Nyheim Hines, Devin Singletary. They're good at what they do. I think they'll be just fine. And I think with how the schedule is looking for them right now, which is one of the easiest schedules they have for a second half of the season this year for them, I think they'll be fine. They'll get the number one seed by default. With Kansas City losing to Cincinnati over the weekend, it actually does kind of set things up going forward. And look, if it happens, it happens. It is what it is. I am surprised by this possibility, though, of the Bills and the Chiefs potentially being your AFC title matchup at this point. I'd be surprised if this was not in Buffalo. I wouldn't be surprised if it was in Buffalo. I think Buffalo's taking the number one seed still. I think they are. I think they're going to be, by default, taking the number one seed. The rest of the weekend, though, was a wild one. I'll give you the scores and recap. I'm not going to give you highlights of every single thing that happened, because most of this weekend was kind of a shock. I mean, I'll give you the details from some of the scoring plays. I'll start with Packers-Bears. That was one of the games of the weekend. It started out with a 3-0 lead, and Justin Fields just went off. 55-yard run for a touchdown. No one's going to catch him there. It makes it 10-0 Chicago. Mason Crosby got a field goal for the Packers. Montgomery runs it in from 7 yards out. They missed the extra point. Watson gets a 14-yard touchdown pass from Rodgers. Makes it 16-10. Bears kick another field goal. It's 19-10. Fourth quarter. A.J. Dillon just runs the ball 21 yards down the field. Crosby connects on a 32-yard field goal to take the lead. And Watson just gets his second touchdown of the day. Christian Watson with a 46-yard run, and Mercedes Lewis getting the 2-point conversion, putting the Packers up 28-19, which that was eventually your final. Rodgers did not go off in this game. This was all about the rush attack for Green Bay, considering what Dillon got in the game, which was 18 carries for 93 yards and a touchdown. Fields got 254 yards passing, 2 picks, and he rushed for 71 yards, got a touchdown of his own. He's really been the highlight of this entire season for Chicago. And as bad as Chicago is, and I can tell you right now, I don't think Chicago's going to win another game this year. I just don't think they are. They're trying to get their coach actively fired. I'm convinced of it now. I think they're trying to get their coach fired. I think Justin Fields, as good as he is, he's not doing it for the coach. He's doing it for himself. The rest of the team's falling apart anyway. That's really pretty much it in a nutshell. Jones in the game had 9 carries for 26 yards for Green Bay. Watson had the 1 carry for 46 yards. Rodgers had 4 yards rushing, and Patrick Taylor had 1 carry for 6 yards. The Bears had 155 yards on the ground. Montgomery and Fields combined to get at least 132 yards on the ground together, with 2 touchdowns combined. St. Brown had 1 yard. Velvis Jr. had 1 yard, and Darrington Evans, who I believe is either a tight end or a wide receiver, got a little bit of run action as well. This was a game that really defined both their teams this season. They know they're not making the playoffs, but Rodgers had to get one more in there. He said he doesn't know when it's gonna be his time, meaning when he's gonna retire, if he's gonna leave Green Bay, or he's gonna stay with Green Bay. My take of the whole thing is that if he really truly wanted to leave Green Bay, he should have never re-signed the contract. He just signed a new deal this offseason, so I don't understand why this is such an issue, but it is. So it's. Are you going to stay or are you going to go? It's like that song, should I stay or should I go? Da, na, 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 na. I'm not going to sing the whole song. I'm not a good singer. But you get my gist with Aaron Rodgers at this point. That's what this whole season has felt like this year, watching the Packers play football, is that song. Broncos-Ravens, I'm not going to give you the highlight of this game. This was a suck-bad game. Broncos led it 9-3. Tyler Huntley with a 2-yard touchdown. Russell Wilson. Lamar Jackson injured himself in the first half. I already mentioned the injury he suffered beforehand. Ravens win 10-9. That's it. Nothing about this game meant anything. It was a completely useless game. The Broncos have a crappy offense. Russell Wilson went 17 for 22, 189 yards. Huntley went 27 for 32, 187 yards in a pick. This was no good. This was a bad game. Fast forward to Steelers-Falcons, also a 1 o'clock game that happened. Kenny Pickett didn't do much in this game either. 16 for 28, 197 yards and a touchdown. Threw the only touchdown really I believe it was really like midway in the I want to say it was midway in the third, I think, was to Connor Hayward. Made it 13-3. This game all the way around was about Pittsburgh kicking field goals. It was a battle of the kickers, really, at the end of the day. It really was about the battle of the kickers. It was just not really a good game to watch. Steelers get the win 19-16. Lions beat the Jaguars 40-14. Jared Goff went off for 340 yards in the game. He had 2 touchdowns. Trevor Lawrence went 17 for 31, 179 yards and a touchdown. He injured his foot in the game. I think he finished the game, I believe, with the injury. He is uncertain for this week against the Titans, so they're saying now he might be out for this game, which means I don't even know who the backup for that team would be if he were to miss the game. Vikings beat the Jets 27-22. Justin Jefferson had 7 catches for 45 yards and a touchdown. The Jets defense hurt themselves in this game with dumb penalties, with dumb holding calls, pass interference calls. It was really all about the Jets screwing up this game, and I think they were just feeling pressure. Mike White threw 2 costly interceptions that really just basically gave the Minnesota the momentum, because they never lost momentum. Even though the Jets had to lead at first, they never really lost momentum in this game. I mean, Dalvin Cook had 20 carries for 86 yards and a touchdown. He got a little action in the game with Kirk Cousins. Cousins had a struggle in this game. He went 21 for 35, 173 yards and a touchdown. Mike White, 31 for 57, 369 yards, 2 picks. Garrett Wilson had the rookie had 8 catches for 162 yards. He basically outplayed Justin Jefferson in this game, but it wasn't enough. It really came down to Dalvin Cook with a 4-yard run, Madison with a 14-yard run, a couple of a field goal by the Vikings. Then Justin Jefferson with a 10-yard pass from Kirk Cousins that basically put the game away. The Jets had a touchdown next possession of the Vikings scored, but at that point, that was it. The Vikings won the game. Commanders Giants ended in a tie. They ended in a 20-20 tie. Graham Gano tried a 58-yard field goal, came up short, and the game ended in a tie at 20 apiece. I'll give you the rest of the scores. Eagles beat the Titans 35-10. They now improved 11-1. It was all Jalen Hurts in this game. 380 yards, three touchdowns. A.J. Brown had 8 catches for 119 yards and 2 touchdowns. Miles Sanders had 10 carries for 24 yards. The story of this game was that you got Jalen Hurts, who just is playing like an MVP at this point. And he may as well be the MVP in the league this year. I would not be surprised if Jalen Hurts, whether he goes to the NFC title game and wins or loses, he will be the MVP this year, unanimously. I think this guy has it in the bag. I don't see how he doesn't. The way he plays every week, his consistency, he never struggles. He never had the only bad game he's had was against the Washington Commanders. He's recovered since. So he's doing just good, believe me. Hurts in the game only had 5 carries for 12 yards. They only ran as a team for 67 yards. Derrick Henry did not do much in this game. He had 11 carries for 30 yards. Ryan Tannehill had a bad game. He went 14 for 22 for 141 yards. Not a good week for the Titans, really. Just not a good week. Traylon Brooks, I believe, got entered in concussion protocol, so he missed most of the game, really. Browns beat the Texans 27-14, despite those girls protesting. Well, I think it might have worked because Deshaun Watson was crap in this game. He was 12 for 24, I think, or 12 for 23 for 131 yards and a pick. But they still managed to get the win. They win 27-14. Seahawks beat the Rams 27-23. 49ers, despite losing Jimmy Garappolo, got the win over Miami, beating the Dolphins 33-17. 18 for 33, 295 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. Garappolo, before the injury, I think they're going to – I have the stat in front of me here, which I don't. Brock Purdy, though, did go 25 or 37 for 210 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 pick. Tyreek Hill for the Miami Dolphins had 9 catches for 146 yards and a touchdown. McCaffrey had 8 catches for 80 yards and a touchdown of his own. This was a game where Christian McCaffrey has now taken Debo's spot. I mean, he's basically the running back and the wide receiver here at this point. Debo did not do much of anything once again in the running position. He was 4 carries for 5 yards. But Debo did get 6 catches for 58 yards. I'll give him that. But Garappolo in the game was 2 for 4 for 56 yards. This was probably early in the first quarter that he got injured. So a lot of people were nervous about this and got carted off. And there lies the story. Brock Purdy went 25 for 37, 210. Nice debut for Brock Purdy, though, to beat the Miami Dolphins like that. It's not easy to do. Tua got sacked 3 times in the game. Tyreek Hill had 9 catches for 146 yards. No Jalen Waddle in this game. I think, he was in the game. I'm sorry. He had 1 catch for 9 yards. Was shut down for the game. Was targeted about 5 or 6 times. Could not get open for the life to save his life. So there you go. Raiders beat the Chargers 27-20. The Chargers now dropped to 6-6. The Raiders are now 5-7. They're closing in on surpassing the Chargers and trying to get to second place. They might have they might get into the playoff conversation at this point. They played the Patriots in a couple of weeks, so that should be very interesting now going forward. Bryce Callahan got the 26 pick 6 to open up the game. Daniel Carson with a field goal. Before that, Jacobs had a 20-yard run. Devontae had a 31-yard reception and a 45-yard reception from Derek Carr. And Keenan Allen with a 35-yard touchdown pass from Justin Herbert. But the Chargers come up short, losing 27-20. Tom Brady. Actually, before I get to that, Bengals got the win 27-24 over the Chiefs. Mahomes did the best he could against these Bengals. Could not get the job done. Struggled for most of the game. 16 for 27, 223 yards, one touchdown, no picks. 25 and 31 from Burrow, 286 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks for him. It was really the story of the game was, if you think about it, it was the Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow show. Despite the fact that Sammy Perrine got a touchdown reception, and I think Chris Evans got a touchdown reception later on in the game. Perrine went 21 for 106 yards and no touchdowns here. The story wasn't a game was that Jamar Chase didn't need to score a touchdown in the game, but he got enough targets and enough catches in the game to really just mess with Kansas City's defense. Nobody in Kansas City's defense can cover Jamar Chase. I'm sorry. That's just the way it is. They can't cover the guy. They can't do it. Mahomes in the game was not great. We just kind of struggled for a bit there. Kelsey was naturally shut down in this game. They found a way to manage him and not have him go off, have an off game. The rush attack wasn't much to talk about really at all in this game. McKinnon had 51 yards on the ground on 8 carries. Pac-Cho had 66 yards and 1 touchdown. And that was pretty much it. I mean, the story of the game was that they couldn't do much of anything in this game. They really couldn't. Burrow had a 4-yard run. Harrison Buckner had a 26-yard field goal. T. Higgins had a 12-yard touchdown pass. McKinnon had a 2-yard pass from Patrick Mahomes. Patrick with an 8-yard run to take the lead. Evan McPherson got a 36-yard field goal. Mahomes got a 3-yard run. I think there was a fumble after the field goal by the Bengals there, which led to the 8-yard touchdown pass to Chris Evans. And the Chiefs could not capitalize. The Bengals drive the ball down the field, end the game. Burrow is now 3-0 against Patrick Mahomes. He's now beaten Patrick Mahomes at least 3 times now at this point. Beat him last year right around this time last year. I think it might have been week 14 or week 15, or it might have been the same week. Who the hell knows? But Burrow got the win there for the Bengals there. Burrow won the AFC title game last year into Kansas City and got the win in Kansas City, and now he does it again here. Joe Burrow has got Patrick Mahomes' number. That's just the way it is. Like at this point now, I can easily say now without a shadow of a doubt that Patrick Mahomes has now been exposed by Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is now Patrick Mahomes is now Joe Burrow's bitch. I mean, I'm just gonna put it out there for you. That's basically what it is. I mean, I'm not trying to sugarcoat it there. Just gonna call it like I see it. Joe Burrow owns Patrick Mahomes. It used to be Tom Brady, but now it's the other way around. Now it's swinging towards Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow has now taken Tom Brady's place and into owning Patrick Mahomes in postseason action, in regular season games. I wouldn't be surprised if they met up again in Cincinnati. They got the exact same result there too. Would not surprise me. Because now at this point, they've figured out how to cover this offense up. They knocked out Juju Smith with a concussion. He's got a second one. I think at this point, if he gets a third, he's done. So there's no sense of risking him getting him injured at this point. Really isn't. Anyway. So, but now let's go to the Buccaneers and actually let's go to Cowboys and Colts. This was a wild one. Cowboys get the win 54-19 over the Colts. The fourth quarter was a story. Guess what the story was in this fourth quarter? 33 unanswered points in the third quarter. This game was a runaway. I'll give you right to the highlight of that one. So after the Alex Pierce touchdown and a failed 2-point conversion, Gal got a 3-yard touchdown. Malik Hooker got a 38-yard fumble and returned to swoop and score, made it 34-19. Power with a 30-yard run. Elliott with a 4-yard run, and Malik Davis with a 23-yard one. That was what put the game away. Matt Ryan had a horrible game. 3 interceptions on 233 yards throwing, 21 for 37. He had 2 touchdowns. Prescott didn't do much in this game. He went 20 for 30, 170 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick. Pollard had 12 carries for 91 yards, 2 touchdowns. Dallas is going to expose a lot of teams. They are. And I think Dallas and Philadelphia might be your divisional round. And I'm going to say this right now. They are circling the calendars for when they got to face Philadelphia. Because that might be for the NFC East. It might not be for the NFC East at this point. I think Philadelphia has got the division wrapped up in the bag, sort of. Not really. I think Dallas could catch them. But at the same time, I think Philadelphia could actually clinch their division. I think they're convincing. I think they could be convincing enough to win the NFC East. I think Dallas is the same team as well, in the same boat. Right now, at this point, I think they're going to go deeper in the playoff than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will. Just going to call my shot here. I don't think Tampa Bay is going to be a team that makes it by the Dallas Cowboys. I don't. I think despite how they play defensively, Tampa Bay, which lately they've been getting 100 times better, Dallas's defense is just much better. They're much better right now than Tampa Bay's defense is right now. Just call it like I see it. CeeDee Lamb had a 20-yard touchdown pass. Pollard had his 2-yard rushing touchdown. Galvin had a 13-yard touchdown pass from Prescott. In the game overall, CeeDee Lamb had 5 catches for 71 yards and a touchdown. I think I've already mentioned that already. But Gallup, I believe, has had, if I'm not mistaken here, he actually had 4 catches for 23 yards and 2 touchdowns. Schultz had 2 catches for 33 yards, and Tony Pollard had 2 catches for 15 yards. But doesn't really matter here at this point. It was really all about the defense for Dallas. They absolutely annihilated Matt Ryan in this game. Got sacked 3 times. Not really a great game for him. Lost a fumble, threw 2 interceptions. It just was not a good game at all. And Jeff Saturday looks like a bum at this point. He might as well be the next bum to go. And I think this might be his last time he ever coaches in the NFL after this season. I don't think he's going to be confident enough to do it again. So he's going to go back on and get up again. ESPN might take him back. That's all I can say about this, really, because this was. I think Jeff Saturday looked lost. He looked like he didn't belong coaching that game. Tom Brady got his 44th game-winning drive late in the 4th quarter, passing Peyton Manning as one of the all-time comebacks in the 4th quarter. He did it, and ironically, it was at a home game in Tampa Bay. The last time this was mentioned here, I'm going to go way back here, October of 2003 against the Buccaneers, when Peyton Manning had a comeback against the Buccaneers in their own home. They came back and win 38-35. That's when the 4th quarter comeback double-digit competition had started at the time. But Peyton Manning had the record. Tom Brady broke the record. It was a 1-yard touchdown pass to Kate Oaten late in the 4th. Another one to Rashad White late in the 4th. And once again, it was all because of Dennis Allen. Dennis Allen, who cost the Saints the game because they didn't call their timeouts. And that's all you need to know. Tom Brady is one of the greatest of all time to keep on doing it. Got the clutch win, beat Andy Dalton. And here's a fact I didn't even know about this with Andy Dalton. This is a fact going into this whole thing. Ready for this one? Andy Dalton has been to 3 Pro Bowls in his career. 3. Joe Flacco has been to 0. So we're going to debate this weekend about whether Flacco's a better quarterback than Andy Dalton. Because I think Andy Dalton at this point is. Anyway, I'm just getting a text message. Sorry about that. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. So Dalton and Flacco comparison will be a thing for this weekend coming up, because I'm not convinced that Andy Dalton is a 3-time Pro Bowler. I'm sorry, I'm not. I don't remember what Pro Bowls he were in. I don't believe he's that good. I mean, at this point, he's lost starting job at the starting job, and the only reason why the Dennis Allen is keeping him starting is because Jameis Winston is on the hot seat right now as a quarterback for the New Orleans Saints. He's on thin ice right now with Dennis Allen, and he's on thin ice right now with the team, even though he's got the 2-year contract. That could all be erased very, very soon. So that's that. Anyway, enough NFL news. There's a long NFL news here at this point. MLB free agency news is what I really got to get into here at this point. A lot of craziness that happened within the last 24 hours as far as free agency and how that's gone at this point. I'll start off by saying that I'll start it off with the news of the day, as my phone's getting ready to let me know that it's dying. That's great to know. I'll start off with Wilson Contreras, the former Chicago Cub catcher, no longer with the Cubs, now with the St. Louis Cardinals for 5 years, $87.5 million with the team. That's number one. Number two, you got Kenley Jansen, the free agent pitcher who's no longer a free agent, now with the Boston Red Sox. He signed a 2-year, $32 million deal. I'll get more into that in just a second. Mets signed Jose Quintera to a 2-year, $26 million contract. We'll keep going here. There's more to the story here. I'll get more on the Red Sox in just a second. Here's the massive one of the day. Aaron Judge, 9 years, $360 million contract to be with the New York Yankees, not with the San Francisco Giants. He kind of screwed the Giants over. He screwed the San Diego Padres over. As a matter of fact, he took a flight to San Diego to talk with the Padres and the Giants, and they all offered the same deal. But deep down, his heart was in New York. There's no other way of explaining it. His heart was deep in New York. He wanted to be a New York Yankee. I get it. Which is why I don't believe he's ever going to leave the Yankees. He's set for life in New York. There's no other way of looking at it. There really is no other way of looking at it. Anyway, I just think it's amazing that he went out of his way to fly to San Diego, told them no, went to San Francisco, told him no. What if Steph Curry didn't reach out enough on social media to get him to go to San Francisco and play with the Giants? Anyway, I got my friend texting me right now who's watching this podcast live stream right now. So I give a shout out to Jose. Jose, how you doing? Anyway, I want to get back on the Red Sox point of view at this point, because Chime Boom said today that they're going to add more players during the free agency period for the winter meetings, which Jet's a good signing, because here's why. This is the first real closer you're going to have in over 4 years since you got rid of Craig Kimbrell back in 2018. You haven't had a real closer in 4 years since you won your last World Series. Just stating facts here for a minute. Stating facts on here. And by the way, you got a World Series winning closer, which is a good thing. You got a clutch one at best. He doesn't blow a lot of saves. At this point, get rid of Tanner Houck. You can keep Garrett. I'm trying to think of now. I'm trying to blank on the name now. I can't even think of his name now. I'll think of it when I watch. It's gonna come to me, and it's like, I mean, like, damn it, I forgot the name. But anyway, but Jensen being on the Red Sox rotation is great. Judge, I think, getting the 9-year deal, $360 million, it didn't surprise me. Mike wasn't surprised by it. Shout out to Mike, my guest co-host who could not make it here today. Unfortunately, weather and traffic has not been too kind to everybody. So anyway, more free agency news on the day. Josh Bell getting signed with the Cleveland Guardians. He's on a 2-year deal. I believe it's either 2 or 3 years his deal was. I don't remember exactly what the contract had said. Mitch Hanger signing with the San Francisco Giants on a 3-year deal. Let's see what else is going on. Cody Bellinger signing a deal with the Chicago Cubs. Here's where this was brought up as this point. The former NL MVP. I believe his deal was if I'm not mistaken here, I think his was a 2-year deal, 3-year deal, I think it was offhand. I don't remember exactly what the contract was offhand. I don't have it in front of me just yet. Oh, here we go. It's popping up right now. Very surprised that he left the LA Dodgers. I was convinced he was going to be a lifer in LA. I did not expect him to go anywhere else at this point. It really kind of caught me off guard. And here it is. It is a 1-year, 17.5. Oh, I was close. $17.5 million contract to be with the Cubs. I say great. It's a replacement for taking Jason Hayward's job. It's basically a 1 year to prove yourself kind of deal. We're either going to keep you or release you. That's basically what it comes down to in a nutshell. I mean, I like that deal. That deal's gonna be very interesting. It might be an interesting year for the Cubs because they might be good this year with Bellinger this year. I just had my page just refresh on me. I don't like that. I don't like when things are refreshing on me. I just had the next free agent signing here. I don't know why it won't let me go back up here. I just love technology. It's fantastic. I don't know what the heck happened. I don't know what's going on. It's weird. I know I have more than one posting on here. I guess I can't find it on here. I'm going to try to find it on my phone now. Love technology. Gotta love it. Before I get into that, let me just, my friend wants me to show the Raptors hat that he got me, which is buried somewhere in my car, Jose. I apologize. All right, let me just find the, I know I had the story in here. Here it is. Tajon Walker going to the Philadelphia Phillies on a 4-year deal. Will stay in the NL East. This is according to CBS Sports. But I like these free agency signings so far. These free agent signings are very interesting now going forward. It may actually make me think of a World Series prediction. Now I'm not saying it's gonna be the Yankees and the Dodgers again, because that's not going to happen. That's a long shot right there. And as far as Aaron Boone being removed from manager at this point, I call him Aaron Bum for anybody out there who's listened to this show, and you know my gripe when it comes to Aaron Boone is the manager. He's not the right fit for this Yankee organization. Yeah, I don't have any confidence in him as a manager. So he's done one thing right so far. He's made sure that the GMs have got their guy back. Finally, they also re-signed Brian Cashman to a 3 or 4 year deal. So it's also a really good thing. Major League Baseball issues where Major League Baseball issues stand over 1 year after the owners lockout caused their first work stoppage since '94. The 2020, this is what it says right in this article here. 2023 baseball season is poised to be the first normal one in what feels like a very long time. 2020 season was abbreviated to just a 60 regular season contest and was forced to conduct the playoffs in a bubble setting, of course, because of the pandemic. In 2021, in-person attendance was drastically limited much of the year, also because of the pandemic. This past season, the entire owner-driven lockout and once an accord was finally reached for a new CBA collective bargaining agreement. The start of the season was pushed back to April 7th, and the schedule was compressed to make room for the later opening day and expanded playoffs. That later caused the baseball upheaval brings up to the here and now, 1 year ago, just after midnight. It locked the players out and began their sports first labor stoppage. The players took too long with this agreement. I'm going back on this now, reading this article and looking back on it now. And I said this before about the agreement, that they really should have tried harder on a deal where everybody would have been happy. Instead, it was basically just a bunch of crap. It's really what it came down to. Joe Musgrove setting a record for the fastest pitch in Antarctica. He broke the record at 86 miles per hour and is now going to be considered in the Guinness World Record. I wish I had the video in front of me. I was trying to upload today, but the upload failed. Unfortunately. Sorry, guys. Anyway, it's enough baseball news. I might circle back to the NFL because Baker Mayfield was claimed off of waivers yesterday. He's now with the Los Angeles Rams, which is mainly because Matthew Stafford's not going to come back the rest of the year. But they don't want to put in Bryce Perkins, who absolutely sucks. So they want to put somebody in who's probably worse, but at the same time, probably a better fit for the offense, which is Baker Mayfield. And this may keep Cooper Kupp out longer. It may affect his stats if he does play in a game, because Baker Mayfield might screw it up somehow and just throw interceptions instead, or not throw to Cooper Kupp. I don't know, because Baker Mayfield. Look, it would have been better if he went to San Francisco, but I think Kyle Shanahan read the writing on the wall, which is that guy is no good for any NFL team. He's a distraction. He's a drama queen, and when he doesn't get what he wants, he pouts. So it is what it is. I mean, I think Baker Mayfield is with the Rams now. He's the Rams' problem, not the 49ers' problem. There you go. There's your news right there on the day for baseball and NFL. Now I will get into the college football playoff matches. They were announced as of last night, which is Ohio State will be taking on Georgia in the Peach Bowl, and in the Orange Bowl will be TCU and Michigan. So that TCU was your third seed. They lost the Big 12 championship to Kansas State. So they're your Big 12 champions. But it does not mean they're out of the college football playoff, thank God. Michigan won the Big 10 championship 43-22. That's what would make them face TCU. They're number 2 in the seeding. Obviously, Georgia's number 1. They're still undefeated. They beat LSU 50-30. And Ohio State, who has not played since losing to Michigan in the Big U, will have a long rest to play Georgia again. Actually, I don't believe they played Georgia. Last year, Michigan played them. Okay, so this will be their first time meeting Georgia in a while. So that should be a very interesting playoff matchup there once the time comes. I like these playoff matchups, though. If I had to make a prediction right now of who wins them, don't be surprised if we end up seeing Michigan, Ohio State. And here's why. It's the rivalry. It's the importance of the game. It's important to create history for the Big Ten, make Big Ten the bigger conference here. Michigan overall's got a tough defense. So does Georgia, but I think Ohio State can figure them out. If LSU can figure out with a backup quarterback who gets over 300-plus yards and put up 30 points, then I think C.J. Stroud can do that with Ohio State. They can figure out how to get the win there. I think it'll be Ohio State versus Michigan in the national championship game. And I think, honestly, and I am an Ohio State fan, don't get me wrong, but this is Michigan's year. This is Jim Harbaugh's year to stick to the athletic director who didn't even want him to come back in the first place. And it's really just Harbaugh saying, I can beat Ohio State. See, I told you, especially even in the bigger game. And it would be nice for C.J. Stroud to get the national championship win, but I just can't see it happening. And he'll be running up to in the Heisman Trophy conversation with Caleb Williams. That's my prediction, too. I think Caleb Williams wins the Heisman, and I think Michigan wins the national championship. It'd be good for Tom Brady to watch his old college team win, though. That'd be interesting, too. There were some NBA trade talks right now, which I thought I just had opened on here. Damn it. See, this is my me. When I got pop-ups on my phone and my laptop, too, they intertwine. So when I click clear all here, my phone's connected. It clears off the news I was going to read off of this thing, which I can recover here. I'm pretty sure I can. Hold on. Let me just get this back up on the board. There was a trade rumor going around in the NBA. Here we go. I think I have it right here. I hate that. When I lose the next topic, here we go. There was a report going out today about the Knicks with Knicks actively trying to trade Emmanuel Quickly, Cam Reddish, and Evan Fournier. And I think this is my theory here on trading away Evan Fournier. Trade him to the back of this Boston Celtics. He's a good bench player, good quality bench player. He can get you somewhat minutes. He's not going to surpass Grant Williams in points. So I think realistically here, you get this guy going on in New York because he's not going to accomplish anything for the Knicks. They're not going to do that. As far as Cam Reddish goes, if I say there's one team that could use him, and I think that could be a really good rotation player, really good starter player that could really use him, it's the Pelicans. The Pelicans could use another player. You got Zion in there. You got C.J. McCollum. You got Ingram. You need a fourth guy. Reddish could be your fourth guy. And quickly, as far as I'm concerned, well, he can go play for the LA Lakers. And maybe LeBron can teach him something. But I just think that this trade should happen if they really want to go through with it. The Knicks, look, all the Knicks are good for is letting good talent go if either they're not happy with you or they're not happy with them. That's what the Knicks are good at. Just look at Carmelo Anthony, for example. Perfectly good example for his time in New York. Was happy there in the beginning, but then it turned to crap. So it wasn't like it was going to make that much of a difference either way. Bruins on Monday night lost to the Vegas Golden Knights against their former coach, Bruce Cassidy, who took over the job in Vegas. Their first home loss of the year. I thought for sure that they would win this game, continue the streak. Unfortunately, they didn't. They came up short in the home loss. They lost 4-3. Riley Smith did get the win. I know I mentioned this early on the show, but I had to get it out there again because I had to bring this up because I think the Bruins are playing again tonight, if I'm not mistaken here, which I think they are. They are playing. They playing tonight? They are playing tonight against the Colorado Avalanche, who will get there, who will either get their revenge tonight or they won't, because Bruins are favorites to win tonight in Colorado. Colorado, by the way, who's 13-9-1. Bruins are 23-1. Best record in hockey right now. Probably the best team overall in hockey, if we're going to be perfectly honest. The way they played this year is a different energy. You got a different energy, a different system, a different staff and coaching all the way around. And I think at this point, with Nathan MacKinnon out, sidelined for the next 4 weeks with an upper body injury, it kind of gives the Bruins an opportunity to win. That's it. That's really what it comes down to it. They take advantage of this tonight. One of their best players is out. You can get the season sweep on them in their own home. I like their chances here. Yolmark getting the chance right now. He's only lost one start this year as a goalie. He's only allowed 1.93 goals per game here. I like the Bruins' chances to go into Colorado and clinch it. I really do. I think they have a really good shot of doing it. It makes sense here in the long haul here for the Bruins to get this win. And I think really especially too, because Montgomery is a really good coach. I don't know how they never tried to get him a long time ago and they went with Bruce Cassidy instead to take Claude Julien's place. I just thought that was a questionable decision right there. I never had good feelings about Cassidy as a head coach anyway. Claude Julien at least was a good head coach and competent. He was just never liked by the owners and the general manager anyway. So that's why he got let go. And plus, he was kind of losing the team a little bit, even though he was well liked. So I don't know what the story is with that and, why they chose Cassidy over Montgomery. Because I think if you had Montgomery as a head coach a long time ago, different energy, different feel, and if you had Yolmark in there at the time, which they could have had him in there, you could have had it. Instead, you had Rask, who just was in and out. And look, I can say this right now with full confidence at this point. If Tuukka Rask was on this team and got the job, Yolmark would have been traded by now. I think if Tuukka was committed to playing for the Bruins this season, Yolmark would have been traded. Tuukka would have stayed with the team. They would have had a different energy. They would have been scoring every night. That team would be awesome to watch. Believe me. And I think they would have had. I remember Montgomery talking about this too when it came to Tuukka Rask, that he had respect for Tuukka Rask and said he was going to be a challenge to beat in the Stanley Cup final. And I think Luongo at the time was a goalie for them at the time, who might as well have been a goalie all over at this point. Or no, it wasn't Luongo. It was somebody. I think it was somebody else who was a goalie at the time. I think Luongo might have went up against the Bruins in the Cup when he was with the Canucks. I could be wrong on that one too. But yeah, it was. But if you had to look at the Bruins over the last year with Bruce Cassidy, Montgomery basically owned Bruce Cassidy. And I think Cassidy got his revenge 3.5 years later. So that's how I look at it really when it comes to a revenge game. This felt like a revenge game when it came to Bruce Cassidy. And really it felt like revenge because Bruce Cassidy was basically forced out of Boston. That's basically what it comes down to. He was forced out of his own team. And now he's with a different team now at this point that they're on a warpath right now as well. And they're favored tonight against the New York Rangers tonight. So that'll be very interesting there. You also have the Washington Capitals tonight taking on the Philadelphia Flyers. You have Arizona Coyotes taking on the Edmonton Oilers. You have Vancouver taking on San Jose. You have Minnesota taking on Calgary tonight. Buffalo taking on Columbus tonight as well. That is on all tonight. Let's take a look at some NBA scores. Well, not scores, but games that are going to be coming on later on tonight. You got Hawks and Knicks. You got Clippers, Magic, Hornets, and the Brooklyn Nets. Lakers at the Raptors. By the way, no Anthony Davis because he was out with the flu, so he's not expected to play tonight in Toronto. Washington in Chicago. Sacramento in Milwaukee. Indiana Pacers versus Minnesota Timberwolves. Golden State at Warriors at the Utah Jazz. Celtics playing at the Phoenix Suns tonight. Detroit Pistons, New Orleans Pelicans, and the Thunder and the Grizzlies. The Celtics, by the way, are now 20-5. They've been pretty good the last couple of weeks. Right now, Al Horford out due to COVID-19 protocol. Malcolm Brogdon will be available for Wednesday's game against the Suns in Phoenix. If I had to pick tonight's game, I'd say the Celtics get the win tonight. I think Tatum goes off in the game. He gets another 30-point game. I think Devin Booker gets about 40, but comes up short. And I think this is going to be a close game. I think they get the win in Phoenix tonight. One guy who won't be there tonight to watch the team, although he's been no longer with the team now for a while, And you may argue right now that Joe Mazzulla is probably better right now than Ime Udoka is at head coaching right now. Surprisingly, is Ime Udoka. Because Ime Udoka and Nia Long are officially Splitsville. They announced today, this is according to Newsbreak, they are officially ending their relationship as of this time around, after 13 years. The affair is what caused it. I knew this was going to end. It was only a matter of time of when it was going to end. And honestly, I would feel bad for Ime Udoka if he didn't do what he did. I'm just being realistic here. He took the risk of, sleeping his way to the top. He got the job. I mean, he really didn't need to do any of that stuff. I think it sucks that after 13 years you throw that all away, for some, girl who happens to be friends with Danny Ainge, who no longer was with the team at the time. So she's with the team. She schedules all the arrangements and all that stuff for the players. And he just happens to get, little action while, being employed with the Boston Celtics. And it's a bad look for the Celtics. It really is at the same time. And it's also a bad look for Ime Udoka because now he was a shoo-in for the Brooklyn Nets job, couldn't get the job. And I'm convinced now it had something to do with the fact right now that he didn't get the job because of what the Nets thought of him, which wasn't the right fit. Too close to Durant and Irving. They don't want these guys distracted. It's understandable. I get that logic there. But here in this case here, it's about this relationship, and now it's officially over. They're Splitsville. They're done. That's it. That's just a sad fact right there. Their relationship has come to an official close. And I do feel bad. I really do. I do feel bad for this whole situation. I really do. Okay, we have one more sports story now. This was something completely random today. I got today out of the from Black and White Sports, which is Joe Biden is suffering from CTE. Had his brain apparently he was suffering from severe CTE. So we have it now, which I don't like getting into politics talk here, which is why I don't really get this which is why I don't talk about stuff outside of sports very oftenly. But this goes to show you of how bad this country really is. To put all the pressure on Joe Biden at this point as the president right now, and because of his age, his brain's starting to go, and it's bad to the point, which I don't believe he's ever suffered any concussions in his life. I don't believe he's ever been beat up in fights where he's been beaten up so bad where he doesn't know what he's saying. But it's bad, and I think this may have something to do with the COVID that he may have had. I think over a year ago and 2 years ago, I believe. Ooh, why is this blurry? There we go. I just got scared for a minute there. The camera got blurry. Anyway, for everybody who saw that glitch there, I apologize if I was looking blurry there. But anyway, yeah, Joe Biden. I thought for a minute. This is the weirdest thing. This is a brand new webcam, and it's either blurry or making me freeze. And I have great Wi-Fi here for the first time. Come on. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah, Joe Biden with his CTE. I do feel bad for him now at this point. I do. Like in the beginning, like I just disliked him because of how much taxes have risen up and all that. But with this now, it's like I feel bad for the guy because even with the COVID, and COVID may have gave him a fog, like a really bad fog. And maybe the wife injecting him with the drug, not knowing what was in it, may have caused the CTE. That could be a possibility. So it sucks. I do feel bad for Joe Biden at this point, and this may be a time now where if you know this guy's got CTE, for everybody to go in there and impeach the guy because he doesn't know what he's doing. Everybody knows his brain's in a fog. It's not right to keep a guy like that in office. And I think there should be an age limit. There should be an age limit at this point. You can't be a president past this certain age. And I think that certain age has to be within in your 50s or 60s. If you're in your 70s, you cannot be the president of the United States. Let's say you're 60. Okay. 65 is the limit at this point. If you're past that limit, you cannot be president of the United States. And I think the limit should be you have to be 25 years old, not 35. 35, I think you're full of yourself at that point. 25, you're young, but, you know, you're not dumb, millennial, or woke. Although most of my generation is. Anyway, former IT director accused of embezzling over $1 million from a Warren company. This was according to ABC 6 News. This says here, a former IT director at Warren Company is accused of fraud and aggravated identity theft. Federal prosecutors said that Juan Hicks, 47 years old, was used his access to AT-Wall Company's computer network, purchasing authority and management authority to steal over $1 million from the company. His attorney, Zach Kwana, said the company hired forensic analysts, the United States attorney, said the company hired forensic analysis to find the source of a cyber attack that happened in March. Kwana said company files show that Hicks refused to follow company policy by providing his computer and passwords during this time. An internal investigation revealed that Hicks had allegedly stole over $1 million from the company over the last 10 years. So that's $10 million within the last 10 years. Think about that for a minute. Or maybe he's still combined $1 million. I'm not sure. So it's over $1 million for the last 10 years. Hicks, who's from New Bedford, not only kept the money for himself, but shared it with his friends and family as well, said the U.S. attorney. So his alleged fraud included getting reimbursed for false expense reports and fraudulent invoices he created, enrolling family members on the company's wireless phone service plan, and issuing company phones to himself and 6 family members, purchasing airline and entertainment tickets, and using a company credit card to make purchases at retail stores and pay for car repairs. Hicks was arrested today and released on unsecured bond following an initial appearance in U.S. District Court. This is according to Kwana. Here's my advice to all you IT workers out there. Don't follow into Mr. Juan Hicks's footsteps, because that is some stupid thing you could do. You're on a company computer stealing funds, and you always get caught. There's a tracking device on these company computers, so I don't know what this guy was thinking. Plus, he's 47 years old. 47-year-old IT guy. Think about that for a minute. He's screwed now. It might as well be a felony at this point. He's going to get at least 5 to 10 years, if not more, probably 20, 25 years in prison. He's done. He's done for the count. 1, 2, 3, done. Rourke selling a former school building for $1.4 million. That was according to WPERI News today. Andrew Luck. I should probably bring this up. I'm actually going to circle my. Actually, I'll circle my way back towards the end. Dartmouth man unexpectedly performs with Catherine McPhee and David Foster from audience. Catherine McPhee and David Foster from the audience. Let's see. This is according to WBSM 1420. One Dartmouth man got the opportunity of a lifetime when he was asked to sing alongside American Idol star Catherine McPhee and her husband, Grammy Award winner and writer and producer David Foster. Little did Jordan Pieva know when he planned an elegant night out in Providence with his wife to attend an intimate evening with David Foster and Catherine McPhee. Biggest surprise. So that is very, very lucky for that man to get that going. And this is an interesting story. Elon Musk is no longer the richest man in the world. Lost the title of world's richest person on Wednesday, according to Forbes magazine, as billionaire rankings. The Tesla CEO lost $3.4 billion of net worth overnight as the electric car company stock has plummeted, which is not surprising. So far this year, Musk has lost more than $100 billion to car makers taking stock, though previous losses didn't affect his title as the wealthiest billionaire. So Elon Musk, no longer the richest man in the world. That's kind of sad. That is really sad at this point. All right, here we go. Here's the Andrew Luck story now. I'm going to circle myself way back into sports right now. So Luck broke his silence. Former Colts quarterback Andrew Luck finally broke his silence on why he retired in the middle of his prime of his career. And deep thinking, reflective article by Seth Wickersham of ESPN. This is what Luck had said. If I can get a quote. They're not going to show me the quote on here. Damn it. And this is what Luck had stated. This is according to his Twitter. I mean, this is the statement that he had. He said, visit Andrew Luck many times. This is what Luck had stated. Luck had started to tell himself a series of stories of being a quarterback, of being a husband and father, of the injury cycle providing the gift of awareness, of having made a decision. He told himself stories of a former football player whose story made sense, reading what you know best. He says, often until the stories made sense, but none of them netted out in resolution or insurances that he hoped would erase this feeling he lived with, and had no choice but to try to talk out this insane conflict of giving his life to becoming one of the best in the world at his craft and wondering what's left when it's over. Therapy helped Luck to arrive at the clarity that I don't need more clarity, he says, language that felt both sufficient and more inadequate, because it failed to yield what he most wanted to know, which choices are the right ones, and are they right forever? And if they fade or if they edge recede like an iceberg, were they wrong? Even if they still feel right, I doubt I will ever find the answers, he says. All of them, or any answers. Post quote. That is what he had told Seth Wickersham in the. That's what Wickersham got on record here. Here's my take. Andrew Luck should have asked his release and should have gone and played for a different team. I think he would have gone on a much better team and a much better offensive line that would have protected most. I think the fact that they didn't see this coming, which, I mean, they had to know this guy was not in the right frame of mind. The players knew it. Most of the offense knew it. Most of the offensive coordinators knew it. Pagano, who was, I think, was fired in 2017, I think knew it as well, but didn't want to say nothing and just hope to get fired and get the heck away from Andrew Luck. But again, I just think my take is that I think retiring too soon made him regret things. I don't think he truly wanted to retire from the game. I think this is a guy that just couldn't do it because he was in so much pain that he just could not, it just didn't have the fight anymore to do anything. It sucks. It is what it is. At the end of the day, you got to do what you got to do for yourself, for your family, for your wife. I just think he made the wrong choice. And I think he's regretting it. And I think this is why this is all coming out now. I think he wants to go back and play football again. I wouldn't be surprised if he did come back and play football. I think now at this point, the game has passed him by, though. That's the problem. And I think now at this point, like he says he enjoys fishing. He says he enjoys doing other things with the family, or hanging out with friends, but deep down he misses football. He does. He regrets retiring too soon because now at this point, there's nothing going on in his life. He's just an average Joe at this point. So to me, Luck should have played another season in the NFL. He could have played, and I'll give you the following teams he could have played for. I'll give it to you in order. The Denver Broncos, the Green Bay Packers, because Rodgers didn't really want to stay there anymore anyway. The 49ers, because they needed a quarterback, because Garappolo was injury prone, even though they had Garappolo and he went on to the Super Bowl that year and lost. But in reality, Garappolo could have been, although Garappolo's contract was official at that point, so I don't think he could have played there anyway. You could have traded Jared Goff to the LA Rams, to the Colts for Andrew Luck to go to the LA Rams, because I think the Rams would have been a perfect fit for him. You could have had Cooper Kupp there. You could have had Allen Robinson there. You could have gotten somebody out of Jacksonville. You could have traded him there. You could have had Odell Beckham Jr., who wanted to leave the Giants at the time. He had a messed up career with the Giants at the word. He was never the same with the Giants. So he could have left there and could have gone to Los Angeles, joined with Andrew Luck and Allen Robinson, Cooper Kupp. You could have had a team right there, won the Super Bowl right there and then. Boom, bam. That's it. And I think you could have argued there if Luck would have, and I said this a long time ago that Luck should have gone to the Rams because that would have been a perfect team. The reason I say Green Bay and Denver is because Luck for Aaron Rodgers would have been a hell of a deal. for the Packers. Would have been one awesome deal. So I just think it's unfortunate that happened for Luck. It is what it is. That's pretty much it in that story. And look, I mean, if Luck decides to come back and play, great. I just think it's not realistic. I think it's the game's passed and by. It's too far gone, and I think now him coming out with this, it doesn't make sense unless he wants to go play for the Las Vegas Raiders and Josh McDaniels, because McDaniels could have had the opportunity to go coach for Andrew Luck, and I think realistically, if Josh McDaniels went to Indianapolis and go coach with Andrew Luck, I think he would have prevented Luck from retiring. He would have told him he made a big mistake. And who knows if that conversation even happened. Did Irsay scratch the deal? Did Irsay screw up that deal too? Say no, we don't want McDaniels here. He might flee. Maybe Irsay killed the deal about McDaniels. We don't know. And honestly, I'm not surprised Indianapolis Colt football coverage guys, analysis guys, podcasters out there aren't going to report that story because they're not going to admit to that. They won't admit to that. So I don't think that's realistic for them to even, because they praise Irsay like he's a second coming of Jesus Christ, when he's not. So that's it. That's it in a nutshell. It is what it is. Long time John Silver's restaurant permanently closing after 45 years. I believe this is according to Newsbreak Original. And also according to Wikipedia, they made the announcement as of today, so they are now officially closing. I don't even know exactly where this is. This came out a couple of days ago. This is I believe this is actually the restaurant was founded in 1969 and has remained a stalwart. Now comes word, however, of an unexpected closure in the state of Indiana. So this was in Indiana. So at the 45 years of a long John Silver's in Indiana, they are now permanently closing down after 45 years. Let's see. Let me see if there's any UFC news going on right now, because I've been told I need to talk more about UFC, so I will get into some UFC coverage. Before I get into that, though, might as well get into FIFA World Cup news, which I've been in and out of that for the last few days. Which I believe they're the round of 16 ending this week. I think it ends on the 9th, I think, or the 8th. I believe that's tomorrow, because today is the 7th. Kind of hard to believe I'm doing this for an hour at this point. An hour and 2 minutes. I'm glad that somebody's sticking around and listening to me, so I appreciate it. FIFA World Cup news, I have it right in front of me. Here it is, round of 16. That was on Sunday. It was a bad one. For Monday, Croatia and Japan ended in a tie. Croatia did advance over the penalty kicks. Brazil beat South Korea 4-1. Tuesday, Morocco eliminated Spain. So that kind of pissed me off, because I had Spain winning the whole thing. We're not winning the whole thing, but losing to Brazil. And Portugal beat Switzerland. So Switzerland has been eliminated in the round of 16. England eliminated Senegal. They won 3-0 on Sunday. France beat Poland. Argentina and beat Australia, and Netherlands beat the U.S., which I already mentioned on Saturday's podcast already. The quarterfinals start on Friday. You have Croatia versus Brazil. You have Netherlands versus Argentina. You have Morocco versus Portugal, and you have England versus France. And I'll give you my picks right now, because I will probably be on the podcast after 2 o'clock on Saturday. I think Brazil beats Croatia, of course. No surprise there. I think Argentina beats Netherlands. I think I'm going to go with Portugal over Morocco. And I think we're going to go with France over England. So your semifinals would be set at that point. With France, I think they'd be facing Portugal. Argentina will be facing Brazil, I believe. Or maybe the other way around. I could be way off there. But, yeah, that's going to be your FIFA World Cup. That's going to be your setup for a FIFA World Cup. This Saturday coming up, UFC 282, Blachowicz versus Ankliva. If I had to make a prediction right now, I think this weekend it will be Ankliva winning in round 4. And it's for the light heavyweight title. You also got Patty Pimlet versus Jared Gordon. I think Patty Pimlet will beat Jared Gordon. I think Patty Pimlet, I've seen him fight. He's nasty. At this point right now, he should be next in challenge for the light heavyweight title. That I believe Magmold and Club has the title right now, if I'm not mistaken. You got match 3, which is Santiago Ponzinibbio and Alex Moreno. I think Santiago Ponzinibbio here will probably end up winning the fight. I think he's a good fighter. Alex Moreno, I don't know much about. I think he's got a bright future ahead of him. I don't know if he's going to be a champion someday, but I think he seems solid. Santiago Ponzinibbio, I've heard him fight. I mean, he's no joke. He's one serious dude. One guy you wouldn't want to mess with. Darren Till taking on Dricus Du Plessis. That's a freaking messed up name. I think Darren Till will get the win here. I don't know what it is. I have a funny feeling the England guys are going to beat the I don't know if it's a Portugal flag or what that is. I can't tell. Might be Portugal flag. I might be wrong. Bryce Mitchell's going to get the win over Ila Torpa. I think that will probably be the upset win. I think Ila Torpa will come up short against Bryce Mitchell here. I'm calling the upset win. I think Ila Torpa, who's coming in at 12-0 here at this point, it's a little bit more experience for him, a little humbling experience for him to get the loss there. I think Ross Jr. will remain undefeated over Jay Perrin, who was coming in at 10-6. Chris Dawkins will lose to Jarzaro Rozargic. I think Edmund Shabans will get the win over Udoka Lugamba. I'm punching these names. I apologize. A lot of matches in the card. Kozlo will lose to Cameron Samian. Vinicus Salvador will beat. Actually, no. Actually, yes. I think Vinicus Salvador will get the win over Daniel Da Silva. I think Eric Silver will beat TJ Brown. And I think Billy Quintero will beat Alexander Hernandez. That's my takes on the UFC fight. The big fight is this Saturday, though, the main event fight title between John Blachowicz and Magad Ankava. Ankava is favored to win this fight. Patty Pimlet is favored to win over Jared Gordon. Santiago Ponzinibbio, it's actually a really even matchup here between these two, which is very surprising because I've seen Santiago fight. Santiago is not an easy man to beat. He's 29-6. He'll improve to 30-6. And that's it. That is all for the podcast. I did not expect to get into UFC talk right now, and I did not expect to get into FIFA World Cup here today. But I got into it. Not really much else on the horizon. I might as well give you a golf update before I go. The match is coming up this Saturday. It's Tiger Woods and Roy McIlroy taking on Thomas and Jordan Spieth. There's a 12-hole matchup. Justin Thomas, I believe, that is the name. It'll be coming out at 6 o'clock on Saturday. If I had to make a prediction right now, I'd say this. I think it's going to probably end up being Spieth that gets to win here. I think it's easy to pick Tiger Woods here, but when you got a guy who's aging and Roy McIlroy right now who's on this LIV versus PGA thing, it's kind of a distraction. And I think Justin Thomas and Jordan Spieth will take advantage to get the win. That's my prediction. The podcast will be on Saturday at, I believe, 7:30. So I will be on the podcast Saturday with Mike. So we'll highlight the match. We'll cover UFC. We'll probably do a watch along and we can buy it on pay-per-view or somewhere. We can do it somewhere. Heck, we might be at Buffalo Wild Wings. Who the hell knows? Because I can't afford that pay-per-view right now. Well, I probably could. I could probably watch it on ESPN Plus and pay $5, but I'm not going to watch a pay-per-view on my phone and try to upload it and all that. It's going to be too much work. And that's it. That's all you need to know. Nothing else to talk about here on the horizon. I will see you all on Saturday. Who knows if there's going to be any big news this week? This was a big week of news. Hopefully all of you get a chance to watch it. If you want to like the video, hit subscribe. It'd be much appreciated. Show a lot of support to the podcast. Really go a long way. Probably will make my week a lot better. I'm having a good week, but if you hit that like button, you'll put a bigger smile on my face. So thank you. Have a good night, guys. I'll see you all Saturday. I'm out.